So, who was the smartest composer? I think the biggest fallacy people make on the subject is that they equate fame with cleverness and that they assume that we live in a perfect meritocracy and tend to rationalize that the most famous composers must be the smartest composers and that their fame is a function of such intelligence. This rationalization is then reinforced by the mythology that is often created around famous people. The storyteller and the audience alike want to believe that they are revering a certain person in a manner that is credible and reasonable. But more than likely, our brains are just primarily wired to follow leaders in society, as that trait has an advantage in survival somewhere in our lineage. Further, a general audience can only hold so many famous names for a given genre or style before its collective memory fatigues. This means the first movers in that genre, or those that get the most institutional advertising or attention, will be those that are in the pole positions of fame. And we also have to remember that the general audience holds an average intelligence. What music it is attracted to is likely more simple and easy to understand than what a super clever composer, providing a product inside an era where a high graduation of musical complexity is acceptable, has produced. The result of all of this is a social overemphasis on the music written in the late classical to mid-romantic eras. But it's not until we reach the late romantic era and its overlap with the early modern era that we really achieve the peak of organized musical complexity in art music. This is where we're dealing with the most intricate and thickest tonal harmonic languages, the most architecturally complex orchestration of symphonic music utilizing the full force of the modern large orchestra, where individual instruments have evolved so far that they could do just about anything you ask them to within reason, where melodic phrasing no longer strived for simple motif-driven ideas that would be symmetrically fit over 2 or 4 or 8 bars, but these wild, asymmetric, meandering thoughts that could build in symphonic music for minutes, where polyphony was pushed to its limit right before the point that order was destroyed and chaos and entropy got the upper hand. I think Arnold Bax was probably the apex predator in this particular era of art music. Bax's music is an amalgam of all the European schools of music composition, those of England, France, Germany, and even Russia. He has the most sophisticated harmonic language, utilizing the thick harmonic ideas coming out of France and England, those which we would now consider jazz harmony, and merging them with the chromatic and modern ideas coming out of Germany. His textured orchestration was just as innovative as that of Ravel, and he was a master at writing these beautiful asymmetric and unexpected melodic ideas that just seemed to work regardless of their absurdity that they seemingly owned on paper. And as a result, he could write these musical colors and moods about nature and mystical themes that were novel enough that the listener would have never known their existence were it not for him. And of course, there is a little bit of the genius savant type mythology around the man, with stories that say he could look at an entire orchestral score and condense it down to play it on the piano in real time. But this is just my opinion from looking at dozens and dozens of music scores over decades. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Alright guys, we'll see you on the next one. Big thanks to the close to 1,000 viewers that watched my second movement of my first symphony that I put out a little under a month ago. So big thanks to you guys. All right, we'll see you on the next one.